Hello everybody, this is Tim W. Leathertachi 1996, and welcome to episode 19 of Godzilla FX. Wow, we made it this far. Well, really, we're still in Season 2 here, Season 2, Episode 4. And this week we have, well, the poster here says Godzilla vs. Mothra, but the title that I saw it as is Godzilla and Mothra, The Battle for Earth. Now, right off the bat, I'm giving my recommendation here. I'm recommending this to mainly die-hard Godzilla fans because it's a good 90s film. Well, actually, my other recommendation is for people who grew up in the 1990s. 90s kids, I'm giving this to Godzilla fans and 90s kids because this movie is a complete 90s film. But I really did enjoy it. Right off the bat, I'm going to say how many effects cons. I actually managed to find 7 effects cons with this movie as I was watching it. And I didn't think I was going to find that many in a Heisei Godzilla film, actually. And I know I haven't talked about I don't think, I've talked about I talk about the poster every episode, so I'm going to keep doing it. And yes, that is Godzilla's design, as you see here on the poster, and it's the same as King Ghidorah and Biollante, same look. Ken Satsuma is who's playing him again, and he actually does a good performance in this one. And yes, you see, Mothra has a new look, and I'm gonna say this right off the bat. She looks like a flying plushie. Literally, I don't know. Well, you can tell that just from this poster. She looks like a fluffy butterfly. It's more cute than scary, I guess, or ferocious, or whatever. I mean, Mothra. I'm not saying I'm like 50-50 with Mothra's look in this one. Like, I love how her 6 feet look like eagle talons, but her head and her thorax and her legs, they just look like, it looks like a flying plushie. Like, seriously. And also in this movie, like Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, this movie reinvents a classic monster, Mothra, for the Godzilla franchise, but notice by Godzilla's, his left leg, notice by that, there's that monster there, in the down in the corner of the poster. There's the monster with the big horn on his head. In about here we go. Well, this is that monster. This is Batra, who is called they call him the Black Mothra, and I'm gonna say this right now. I actually really do love this look. I so do. His roar kind of sounds like Rodan, actually. Sounds like they played with Rodan sounds or something like that. And I love the detailing on this suit. It looks like so armor plated, and he looks really scary. He actually looks really fearsome. He just has this pissed off look on his face, and the way he moves, I love the way Batra moves. He's got like these two. This is in his caterpillar stage. His larva stage, actually, and the whole thing is just armor plated from head to tail. It's really cool, and he's got like these two smaller legs up front that he moves. These two larger legs, up front that he moves with. It's really cool, but this comes to my first effects con with this movie. As much as I love Batra, there's one scene when because he goes in, of course, like every giant monster, he destroys a city. And when he does, there's this weird effect where this rubble, it's not the monster itself, it's when this part of this building crumbles and it falls in front of people, but with the green screen, the rubble vanishes halfway through falling. It literally disappears halfway through falling, and there's like no rubble at all. It just looks really weird. It was a really weird shot that it looked like a mistake, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, that I was not really a fan. That shot was just really, really freaky. I don't know. I just was not really a fan of that shot. But other than that, when Batra is trudging through the city here, just destroying everything, it is. And actually, in the next screenshot here, you will get to see like some of the. So this thing has an arsenal. He literally has an arsenal because they explain in the movie that he's artificial. But I so love the detailing on the suit, the heavy armor plating and all the spikes and the different textures they have on him, like on his dorsal surface and his face. He's all armor plated, and then look at his underside. It's like kind of smooth, or it looks smooth anyways, or not armored, but it is. I love this creature. I really do. His larva stage is really cool. Oh, here we go. This is where you get to see his arsenal. Yeah, he has this laser, or this laser that shoots out of his horn, and then he has two other. Sorry, I ate ice cream before doing this. Oh, sorry. What was it? Anyways, he's got this like I said, yeah, he's got this laser that comes out of his horn, and then he's got these two other lasers that are purple that come out of his eyes. And as one would expect from just this screenshot alone, that you can tell this is a if you're for Godzilla fans who know, this came out in the year 1992, by the way. I don't know if I have been saying that. Please remind me if I have been saying what years these movies have come out, because I tried to make that a thing through these videos, through this series. But anyway, just from like looking at this, you can tell that this is such a 90s movie. When I said I would recommend this to 90s kids, oh, believe me, just look at that. You can tell that that was 1990s CGI. You can just tell. I'm not saying it's bad, but just the way it looks, you can tell it was 90s CG. Like, you can just tell, in all honesty. And the miniature sets, they look really great. Like always, I know I keep saying that about a lot of the Godzilla movies, but one of the big effects highlights of this franchise as a whole, when it comes to the Godzilla films, are or Toho all in general, really, is the miniature sets. The miniatures are very, very well detailed, and the pyrotechnics attached to that, it just makes it all the more cool. It makes it all the more cool to watch, because when you see a monster attacking a city, it's like you get so lost, and it actually pulls out the fire. Oh, it's a giant monster attacking a city, and you forget that, oh, it's a guy in a suit walking around a miniature city, and the laser coming out of his horn is CGI, and the explosions were little explosives they put all over the mini. The thing about this franchise, about the Godzilla films, is you tend to forget that, and it really gets the point across. That's why I love like the miniature sets so much, because they just look really cool. And like I said last week, you can tell this is where most of the budget for these movies goes to. No cap. You can tell that's where like at least maybe 60% of the budget goes to, is building the miniature sets and planning out the shots. But yeah, in this movie it works when Batra just annihilates everything. Like, he just walks through, just knocks everything over. And here is the big guy himself, the king, the one and only, the king of the monsters, the wrecking ball of a reptile, Godzilla. Okay, any Godzilla fan, put in the comments if you recognize what reference I just made. Please, it is from a Godzilla thing, but it is from the franchise, but please put in the comments what reference I just made. And like I said when I was talking about the poster, it's the same suit from Godzilla vs. Biollante, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Sorry, I almost said an enemy that is not gonna be for another few weeks, folks. Sorry about that. But yeah, this is the same suit, and it's still the same really good detail on it, Still the same thing. You know, there's not much to say at this point because it's the same suit. But I said it. I think I said it with Biolante actually. I love the double row of teeth in Godzilla's mouth. I really do. I really do love the double row of teeth in his mouth. I don't know. It gives this like shark look. His teeth kind of look like a crocodile. They don't look very They don't look very serrated. They really don't. They look very conical, like a crocodile. But yeah, and like I said, Ken Sasama, he does a good job playing Godzilla, and it really adds to the effects because he plays Godzilla like he did in Godzilla vs. Biollante. He plays this character as an aggressive reptile. Like seriously, and when he shows up, actually, this is where Mothra, the larva, hatches out of an egg. And what's so funny is that this movie, okay, I don't talk about plot, and I said that King Ghidorah was gonna be the exception because of the whole time traveling thing. But in this movie, there's a couple of things I got to talk about because the fact that you got Godzilla and Mothra in another movie together here. There's a lot of things in this movie that kind of are very reminiscent of Mothra versus Godzilla way back in 1964, where you have a corporate dickhead who wants to use Mothra's egg as an attraction. Then you have the twin fairies who end up getting mixed in the corporate with the corporate douchebag. Like, it's like a upgraded remake, really, of Mothra versus Godzilla. In all honesty, here and once again you see more '90s, CGI, and this actually brings me to my second effects con with this movie, and it's the big guy, his atomic breath. Okay, the CGI for it is good. I don't like the sound effect. I really do not like the sound effect. The sound effect does not sound like his atomic breath. It sounds, I can't even describe the noise. It's like a kind of a high pitched kind of noise. I really was not a big fan of it. In all honesty, I don't like the sound because when you hear Godzilla shoot his atomic breath, it has that that vibrating noise. This movie didn't have that. Like, sometimes his atomic breath would either make that high pitched noise or no noise at all, or like a booming sound. I don't know. It just didn't have the trademark vibration sound. So yeah, I'm counting that as a con because it's just like, okay, I don't think his atomic breath was supposed to sound like that in this movie, and also like I said, this is like during the first battle, and I just so love it how when Batra enters not the final battle. This is the first fight, like I said. I so love it when Batra comes in after destroying the city. He goes underground and he heads back out to sea apparently, and I so love it how he goes after Godzilla first. Like Mothra, like he and Mothra are mortal enemies in this movie, and Godzilla's just there in the middle of this. In all honesty, that's really all Godzilla is. He's just in the middle, fighting both of these giant bugs at one time. And I just find it so weird how, like, I just find it funny, Godzilla is the first thing Batra shoots at. Like, he only flips Mothra up in the air like one time and that's it. And the rest of the time he shoots Godzilla. But there is, and also, like in Mothra vs. Godzilla, sorry if you can hear that, like that car noise in the background. Mothra bites Godzilla's tail again. Like, I think, I love how they trademarked it, and it's like, oh, Mothra and Godzilla are in a movie again? Oh, make Mothra larva bite his tail again so Godzilla can shake her off. It was so reminiscent of the 1964. It was hilarious. It was funny to watch. And then there's another great effects pro with this first fight. Mothra manages to get away, and what was it? And then Godzilla and Batra, when they fight underwater, it's really cool. And then you got this volcanic eruption that sucks that gets Godzilla and Batra in this whole sea of lava and just gets both of them. And you think that, oh, the volcano got rid of them. And Mothra here, okay, you know, Mothra's still Mothra, you know, no big design change or none of that. But there is an effects pro with Mothra larva here. This is after the first monster battle when it was all three of them. This is after this screenshot is the scene afterwards. You can there is a point where you can actually see, and I pointed this out with some of the films from the OG franchise, but there is a point where you can actually see the wires holding Mothra. There is the Mothra larva here. There is a point where you can actually see the wires, because there is this point where Mothra tries to bite Godzilla's chest and Godzilla grabs her and throws her. When he grabs her, you can see the wire holding Mothra up, ready to throw her. It's on the top of her head. You can clearly see that. You can see where the Mothra is hooked to the puppet, and then the wire quickly goes up in the corner when Godzilla throws her. And in all honesty, there's not really much I can say about the Mothra puppet. I mean, the miniature beach that she's lying on looks really good. Like I said a long time ago, I like environmental miniatures better, in all honesty, because they look more realistic. But yeah, the puppet still smooth skinned, blue eyed, you know, nothing much to say about the Mothra larva. And in the next screenshot, that will bring me to my fourth effects con with this film, because so far I've mentioned 3 of them. And like I said, I found 7 in this movie, which I, honest to God, did not think I was going to find that many in a Heisei film. I did not think I was going to find that many effects cons, but I did. And it's like, at least this movie's not like Godzilla vs. Megalon. I mean, Godzilla vs. Megalon, don't get me wrong, it was an overload of, like, just Jaguar and Godzilla tag team. It was cool, it was a good movie, but I had 9 effects cons out of that movie, if you guys remember, and this movie I found 7, and I can't believe I found 7 effects cons with this movie. Anyways, yeah, okay, here we get some great, we get a really great destruction scene with the miniatures, but my next effects con is, okay, in Mothra vs. Godzilla, from 1964, for those of you who have seen that, when the Mothra larvae crawl on the ground, you can see their bodies undulate, you know, since they're giant caterpillars, right? They move like caterpillar. This brings me to my next effects con with this movie. Mothra ramming her face into every building she comes across. And the explosions are really good, but it's the way she moves. She looks like she's being dragged through the city. Her body does not undulate one time throughout this entire scene, and this scene goes on for a good 3 minutes of the movie. This is where Mothra tries to save the 2 twin fairies when the corporate dickhead captures them both. So yeah, I don't know. She looked like she was dragged through the city instead of her body undulating, you know, like a regular caterpillar. And I don't know. It just looks so weird though. Like, okay, worms don't just move smoothly in a straight line through a city. Their bodies move when they move, you know? I just so can't believe that her body didn't undulate. Her body did not undulate. She looks like she was dragged. It reminds me of Carnosaur. It reminds me of Carnosaur 3, actually, when the Velociraptors run, they were just dragged, you know? It looked like they were just being dragged. So, yeah. That's one thing I gotta. I don't know. It's just the way she was moving through this miniature set just looked really, really weird. Oh man, but other than that, like I said, the miniature set looks really good. I love the miniature sets in these films. They're always really well detailed. It's like they put their heart and Toho, the effects team, they put their heart and soul into this miniature set, and they did with the monster suits and puppets as well. They put their heart and soul into that, you know, to make the monsters look realistic, and I like that. It's just there's some executions that just don't they just do not look they just don't look they just look weird, really. They either don't look right or they look weird, and you're sitting there like, oh, I wonder why they did it like that. Oh, here we go. This is a really cool. This is a cool scene. This is when the explode. Okay, actually, I'm sorry to cut myself off, but don't you remember from Biolante or 1984 when Godzilla fell into Mount Mahara, and then apparently in that lava? Well, then here comes in Biolante. He survived in that volcano for 5 years. Well, apparently in this film here, Godzilla swims through that lava from the ocean all and ended up in Mount Fuji here, where he comes out, where he explodes out of the volcano, and it's just a fury of sparks and fire, and it's like it's very reminiscent of Godzilla's escape from Mount Mahara in Biolante, but it looks way better in this movie. I mean, Biolante, it looks really great in that movie with the smoke and fire behind Godzilla as he's walking out, but at this time here, it's all around him. It's all around him. The smoke, the fire, all the sparks, the volcano blowing up. This is Mount Fuji he's coming out of. And the fact that it's all around him as he's walking out of this, it makes it look better. I don't know why. It just looks so much more powerful in this movie. And I gotta hand it to the suit actor. The fact that he walked through all this with that much heat, not only from being inside that suit, but from all the pyrotechnics going on literally right in front of him or right next to him. You know, I gotta give the Ken Satsuma credit for doing this. It is it's a great scene. I mean, the execution for this movie is solid. For this scene, it's solid right here. And also in this movie, right after this, they bring back once again the futuristic laser tanks are in this movie, and then they have jets. The laser jets are back too, actually, which I really like. And also, I love how Godzilla annihilates this military battalion, and they play this heroic music, like the military is going to defeat Godzilla right on the spot, but then Godzilla just annihilates everybody. You know, it's like, I mean, the heroic music, I like the song, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, it's just all the sound effects, everything with Godzilla in this movie, except his atomic breath, like I mentioned earlier, quite literally, everything works perfectly with Godzilla in this movie. The only thing is his atomic breath. Other than that, everything works perfectly with him. Oh my gosh, here we go. This is heading towards the final monster battle. What do you call? There is one. This brings me to my next effects con. This is after, you know, what was it? Mothra larva makes the cocoon and destroys the diet building, or at least half of it. And what's so funny? I think that's only like the third time in a Godzilla movie that's happened, where the diet building's been destroyed. Because first Godzilla did it, then King Kong did it, now Mothra does it. I don't know. It's like that's the one building apparently that's so avoided by these creatures. Anyways, yeah. See, now that you get a better look at Mothra, it's a flying stuffy. It's literally a flying stuffy. Look at this thing. I mean, it's cute, don't get me wrong, but it's a flying stuffy. It's just this fluffy butterfly. And also, her arsenal includes, like, she can shoot lasers from her antennae in this movie. And my next effects con with her, it's not her design. Not her design at all. It's just that there is a point where you can see the wires holding the wings. You can see the puppet. You can see the wires holding up the wings when she flies. It's like you would never think that would you would never think that would happen, but it does anyways. So I don't know. It just looked really. It just looked really weird. It's just like, oh my god. It's like when you see it, it's like, oh, seriously? I mean, seriously, I really have nothing much. I really don't have nothing much to say about Mothra. She's a fluffy stuffy. She's a flying stuffy. That's all I gotta say about Mothra in this film. So yeah, that's I don't know. I don't have a problem with the overdose, with the giant overdose of cuteness here, but it's just like, really, you're taking on Godzilla, seriously? Like, are you kidding me right now? I don't know, but what's just so crazy is, like, Mothra fights Batra, and when Batra turns into his adult form, which I believe is the screenshot right after this. Batra's adult form, as you're gonna see here in like a few seconds. See, here we go. See, it looks really cool. I love that look. I really do. I love the design, but this brings me to my next effects con. Is his arms... If his arms moved, if they managed to make his legs move, it wouldn't look so stiff puppetish. Like, his legs don't move, literally, the whole entire final monster battle. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just like his legs don't move. It just looks, I mean, don't their legs move? Even when they fly, don't their legs move? It wouldn't look so puppetish if his legs moved. Like, at least his front legs, his two front ones. And then there's also a point where you can see the wires holding Batra up too. During the final monster battle. And what's just so funny is, like, the final monster battle it becomes like it's Godzilla fighting both of them, and then Mothra and Batra are fighting each other. You know, it was a free-for-all, but then I guess Mothra makes Batra realize, you know, how to protect Earth or whatever, or be a better savior to Earth. With this really cool, you know, effect of them, of this species of giant monster communicating, you know, with bioluminescence from their wings or something like that. I mean, it's actually a really cute scene. And then it becomes a 2v1 where it's like giant moths fighting Godzilla. I mean, the monster battle is really cool, you know, lots of effects work and stuff being knocked over, Godzilla shooting his atomic breath. And the whole thing is, it becomes a shooting match. You got Batra and Mothra shooting their lasers at Godzilla from their eyes and their antenna, and Godzilla shooting at them with his atomic breath. It becomes a shootout. It becomes a giant monster shootout. And then what's so crazy, then at the very end of this monster battle, this is where they actually start putting in a little blood and some gore, some monster gore in this movie, in this franchise. A little more because remember in Biollante was getting blown apart. Godzilla got injured, and they showed his blood a few times. Well, then you got in King Ghidorah, you know, the middle head got cut off. And in this movie, Batra manages to knock Godzilla over, and then he and Mothra both lift up Godzilla, and Godzilla just like decides apparently he bites Batra's neck, and you just see all this green blood coming out of this, just gushing out of Batra's neck. It's really gross. It's a really gross scene, but it's like, maybe it's like Godzilla was trying to eat him or something. And then this scene here, this is a really cool. This is during the final monster battle, and this is such a cool shot. It's like, because Batra, he was on the ground. Batra, I think, was no, he's on the ground. If you look off to the left, off to the left at the bottom, there's that little yellow thing sticking up. That's one of Batra's horns. And it's just such a cool shot, like, to see Godzilla and Mothra together. This is wallpaper worthy, actually. Just seeing these two classic monsters go at it again in the early 1990s. And this right here, with all these sparkles coming off of Mothra's wings, I guess it's like the human characters guessed that Godzilla was being brought under control by Mothra. I don't know what it is. It's like they managed to. Godzilla loses this fight. He actually loses. It's not very often the king of the monsters loses a fight, but he loses. He actually loses. It's insane that he actually lost this fight. I know. I was shocked. I was shocked too when I was shocked too when I saw that. It's just like, oh wow, he actually lost. But it's like Godzilla biting and trying to eat Batra's neck out, or neck off, or something like that, or his head probably. It's like Godzilla tried one last ditch attempt to make sure he was going to try to get a win. So in a way, he did get a win. He defeated Batra by biting his neck open and watching Batra just bleed to death. I guess he kind of got a. Yeah, I guess Godzilla did get a win. It's like a 50-50. He lost to Mothra, but he won against Batra. So it's like a win and a loss in the same movie for Godzilla. But overall, like, with the exception of my 7 cons, the effects in this movie, like I said already, I would recommend this movie to 90s kids and dire Godzilla fans and 90s kids. Because the CGI in this movie is like, it is so 90s, early 90s CGI. It was so funny, that building behind Mothra there, Godzilla ends up blowing it up when he tries to shoot at her and Mothra flies away. And Godzilla just cuts that building in half. Let me just get back to the poster. So, Mothra versus Godzilla. With the 7 effects cons that I found, I am giving this movie This movie is gonna get a 7 out of 10 for me. I mean, great pyrotechnics, great miniature sets, great effects when the, when the volcano goes off and the buildings getting crumbled, and about 98% of about 96% of the monster battles, It's just like with the effects the 7 cons that I found, yeah, this movie gets a 7 out of 10 for me. I mean, and like I said, only diehard Godzilla fans and 90s and people who grew up in the 1990s are the people I'd recommend this movie to. So, please subscribe to not only this channel, but also the movie reviews library, and also to Megas Dragon, because he made the logo at the beginning of this video, as well as the logo from season 1. So please, the links to Megas Dragon's channel and movie reviews library, they will be down there in the description. Alright? So, this is Tim W. Leathertachi 1996, and I am going to say peace out, everybody. I hope you all are really enjoying this series, and I'm just gonna keep pushing through. Just keep pushing through this entire series until I finish it. All right. So peace out, everybody, and see you guys next week with the next Godzilla film in the Heisei series. Have a good week, everybody.